Seeking the vast truth, folks, is potentially dangerous for most people. You can't, first of all, millions of Americans and probably throughout history, 1 billion or more people have used psychedelic drugs of some sort, mostly natural, to go on the journey. And they do it just for the high, the experience. And just like in the 60s, however, most people come back and go, oh, man, what a trip. Hey, Ma, can you fix me a tuna sandwich? It doesn't do anything to their outlook, their perception of reality, because they don't understand, one, the message that they could get from it, or the other, they kind of hold it at a distance. They don't integrate it and perceive it properly. And Joel, during the break, was telling us that Marsh Chapel experiment, that of the 8 monks, one monk, after the experience of talking with Christ, left the monastery and called a press conference, went out and told everybody that he was the Christ. And my point being, folks, if you are dense or just plain stupid, you will always misinterpret the truth, no matter how profound it is. It is always up for interpretation, and you just can't get there from where you're at usually unless you go in with focus and some wisdom. So Jeffrey, I bet you have more insight on the path to nirvana, at least temporarily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many stories I can tell about that. But what you're just saying about the quote, truth, unquote, I don't want to sound like a postmodernist here, but there are interesting things about postmodern philosophy. It's just abused, unfortunately, by the New World Order goon patrol called the Illuminati. But it is true, though, that the one postmodernist principle that's a good one is you always have to question what you think is the truth. We're not put here on planet Earth to know with absolute fact all these, lots of things. What we are meant to do is question and be skeptical and probe deeper and deeper into things and wonder about everything. Because the only things we really can prove to exist are some of the things deep, deep in our mind. You can't prove, strictly speaking, that tree outside my window here that I'm looking at right now in the dark is real. Okay, because as we talked about, all the colors aren't real. That's just made up in my mind, and the surface and solidity is not real. That's made up in my mind. So really, how real is this world? It's really just an energy field which we misperceive. But the things that are most reliable are the things that don't go through this sense filtering, and those things are our deep inner experiences. And a lot of those are our experiences of our own soul, or of the divine creator that's everywhere, or which I call nirvana. And it's an intelligence that creates the universe at every moment. You can feel this when you're doing meditation or certain types of prayer. So it's sort of a very enlightening experience once you get beyond our ordinary ways of thinking, things that we've been spoon-fed in our churches and on television, that everything is just matter and all this kind of stuff. So, and that we're supposed to know all these truths and whatnot. That's no fun. I use the word proof all the time. We've proven this, proven that. I only do that just to make a point of, to say that we've got good empirical evidence for some theory, like consciousness exists outside the brain, like you were and I were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. But I don't really mean proof and nobody can question me now because that's no fun. Right. I want people to attack and question. And let's go further. So that's just such an important thing, and a lot of people think it's heresy. Why? Why is it, heresy to question? I'm basically saying we should question all the truths about this world. A lot of the higher truths, about my own soul and its connectedness to the Creator and so forth, those I don't really question at all because they're just so glaringly. When you're dwelling in those experiences, it's just almost like they can't be the questioning doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because you're in a whole other domain, which is so far beyond the sense world of nature and so forth. So that's my take on some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's why I think a week or two ago I mentioned, more than empirical proof, or any kind of evidence whatsoever. Because the numbers can be spun to tell whatever story, and it really is up to perception. That's why I said then, and I stick with it, that the only thing that I trust is my own experiences. But
yep.
with a slight skepticism, because I have to I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, so I believe I'm one of the wisest, but I'm not the smartest. So I have to check myself and question the insights that I have. Now, let me tell you, folks, that if you this is just a little bit of experience, which I'm going to share with you. If you go into seeking, let's say you try to mimic my severe fasting of not eating, drinking, walking, moving, anything for 3 days in order to induce, and it's a Native American technique, and to induce an experience, an altered state, then, if you just go into it blindly without targeting something such as, and this is what 99 out of 100 people do wrong, they just go with it, and instead of targeting something specific, and it can still be general, like truth. And if you're targeting truth, you'll go there. If you target nothing at all, for heaven's sakes, why would you be surprised to come up with a room full of aliens with scalpels? I mean, you're just wandering in this infinite space, this mind, and so you're going to bump into some things. And especially maybe if you have some residue from salsa still circulating in your bloodstream, I mean, because we're affected by the food that we eat. When I was getting into a bad habit the past month, Jeffrey, where I would get home, I only eat one meal a day usually, and it would be earlier, around 11 or 12, and then I get home at 10 almost, and I would eat a heavy hot meal. Then I go straight to bed. And I was having terrible dreams, and I know better than that. It's bad for my health to do that, but it's also bad for my mind because it was inducing some traumatic experiences on the dream side. So, yeah, really, everything affects us.
So right from the point you started eating, I know that your HGH secretion just gets smeared when you do, eat late at night, because your main HGH, I think, secretion or whatever, I don't know the exact terminology, happens right when you go to sleep at night. So, but if you have a lot of food in your body, insulin destroys all that HGH. What kind of dreams would you have? Like horrific dreams or scary or?
Not real scary, but like things that I wouldn't normally dream, such as I'm lost. Or I have a feeling of negativity within the dream, and I can't figure out what it is. They're just not happy, and they're usually full of stress. So nothing really terrible. I have always, throughout my life, I've had to battle until just a handful of years ago. The experience that I had seeing a UFO in the daytime when I was 5 years old, huge, size of a football field, all that kind of stuff. Told the story a few times on the show. I ran in and I couldn't talk all day, but I drew a picture of what I saw. They thought a man tried to abduct me or something, They thought I was going to get kidnapped, and I got away from the guy. That's what moms think back in 1965, I guess. And so